We're live, boys and girls. We're back. It's been a while. But we're back with the Rovers Rant. That's right. Not my show, it's your show. Talk all things Blackburn Rovers, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, of course. Chance to get yourselves in the spotlight. Get yourselves here. Link is down below. https://going live. So if you want to get in there, please do that. It is via Discord. You jump in, I'll pick you out, and we'll have a little chat. But there's lots to talk about, of course. 3 matches in the space of 8 days for Rovers, including Charlton tomorrow. Of course, we could talk about the Ipswich Town fiasco, and we can also talk about the breaking news of this ban of Lancashire Telegraph. Rovers just hot off the press. Lancashire Telegraph, a local newspaper covering everything Blackburn Rovers, has been banned from Ewood Park and banned from Blackburn Rovers. We'll take a look at that article in a second. Again, get involved. The link is in the chat there. It's the pinned comment. It's also here, also in the description. So if you want to get in there and, of course, have a chat with me, let's do that. But let's hop on over, guys and gals, over to, where do I have it? Okay, I'll just put this on the screen quick. Here it is. Going live. That's if you want to have a chat, talk about what went on this past, I don't know, since the international break, really. We haven't had one of these in a while, so please do just that. But we are going to hop over to this for the time being, in case anybody does want to have a chat. But yeah, madness. This is all recent. The statement from Blackburn Rovers was dropped, I don't even know, is about 4 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago, basically saying that local news reporter, or local Rovers news reporter, Elliot Jackson, said something that was against, or Rovers say was fabricated. Let's take a look at the article, or the statement from Blackburn Rovers here. Again, I don't know if you're going to get the full screen here, but we're going to try our best, of course. So, club statement. We'll have a read together. Blackburn Rovers can confirm the media access for the Lancashire Telegraph has been withdrawn with immediate effect. The decision has not been taken lightly. It follows a series of ongoing issues that the club considers inconsistent with the standards of professionalism, integrity, and mutual respect expected in our relationship with media partners. Wow. In recent months, Blackburn Rovers made considerable efforts to strengthen ties with the Lancashire Telegraph and its designated Rovers reporter. These included exclusive access to training sessions, players, and our head of coach during the summer camp in Spain, as well as a personal invitation to travel with the team on a private charter flight for the pre-season fixture against NEC Nijmegen in the Netherlands. While in Spain, senior club executives also met directly with representatives of the Lancashire Telegraph to discuss concerns, open dialogue, and lay the foundations for improved cooperation ahead of the 2025-26 season. Meanwhile, these steps were taken in good faith with the clear expectation of fair, constructive coverage and a positive working relationship going forward. Meanwhile, further in the older statement here, regrettably, despite these efforts, the club has continued to encounter repeat issues with the newspaper's conduct and reporting. This culminated in a recent social media post in which matters became personal. A line the club will not tolerate under any circumstances. Such actions directly undermine the assurances and commitments made during the meeting in Spain. Following the further refusals from the Lancashire Telegraph to cooperate until an amicable resolution could be reached on their terms, the club has been left with no alternative but to withdraw all media access with immediate effect. The suspension applies to all Blackburn Rovers fixtures, press conferences, and club premises until further notice. Blackburn Rovers remain committed to engaging openly and respectfully with all sections of the media. However, we will always act firmly to protect the values of the club, its staff, and its supporters. So that's what Rovers had to say. Of course, back a bit of to and fro here from Rovers and the Telegraph. So let's find that sucker. Of course, a lot of people have expressed their outcry with this. Adam Catterall, a highly popular and famous Rovers fan. He has this. Maybe we'll come back into that. Our very own Jacob Ward in there chipping in with his comments. Maybe we'll have a look at those in a second. But let's take a look at the retaliation by the Lancashire Telegraph here. And of course, maybe you guys want to have your own say on the debacle. That is this. Let's just make sure I'm going to the right in the most recent article here. I think that is it. Coronation Street legend to find out she has been axed next month. Sally! Sally! Okay, here it is. We did want to run the story, but we have been left with no choice. Hopefully, it's not behind a paywall, because then I've not read this, so this will be my first chance to ponder over it again. Got loaded with comments, and we'll, depending on what's going on our own show here, we'll see if we have time to pick apart those comments. But anyway, Rovers bans local newspaper. So, okay, this has been written by David Jagger, who's the digital audience and content creator of the Lancashire Telegraph. Blackburn Rovers Football Club has banned the Lancashire Telegraph from its property due to alleged unfair reporting. Of course, they've got to back their boys up here, and everyone's got their own corner to fight in this. The ban has come after the club expressed unhappiness at Rovers correspondent Elliot Jackson's coverage, including around transfers, which the Lancashire Telegraph argues is simply Elliot doing his job as a professional, diligent journalist. Elliot and the rest of the Lancashire Telegraph staff have been banned from setting foot on Rovers property, and the club have also tried to coerce with other EFL Championship clubs in blocking Elliot's access as away matches, including this weekend's game at Charlton Athletic. Just where do we go from here anyway? I know I'll get back to the release here, but how does this get resolved? It's very, very, very bad. It's just very bad on all accounts. The club said it's tried to foster a positive relationship and takes issue with stories critical of the club. The Lancashire Telegraph argues it is not a mouthpiece for the club, and it must accept the rough with the smooth, just as all major organisations the newspaper covers too. The issue, the club says, stems from a post by Elliot Jackson on X that it claims was false and that contained quotes that were wrongly attributed, and also Elliot's coverage of the departure of club captain Lewis Travis. It was also taken issue with so-called negative reporting about the club. First team coach Val Ismaël said in press conference that Travis wanted to leave, and Elliot argues he did his job working with his contacts to pursue the story and get the full picture for the fans. The Lancashire Telegraph's position in that this is simply diligent, tenacious reporting, which is commonplace in all forms of journalism, particularly so during the football transfer window that the club is fully aware of. If the team is playing badly or not appearing to be active in the transfer window, Elliot is well within the rights to be critical, we say. Spokesperson for the Telegraph said, to be surprised or upset by this strikes us as either incredibly naive or engineered as an excuse to try and stifle negative coverage. While we appreciate the opportunities made available to the newspaper, including access to players and transport during pre-season, this should not be used to try and stop us from reporting the facts when the club deserves criticism. They added, we're disappointed in the action taken by Blackburn Rovers and remain committed to finding an amicable solution and way forward. Ultimately, the club and the Telegraph are here to serve the fans. Readers can rest assured we will continue to provide exemplary coverage of the club, telling the stories that matter about the club they love. Elliot has defended his ex-post, which has since been deleted, as accurate, and the Lancashire Telegraph has seen messages with correspondents corroborate this. The EFL has said access to stadia sits with the home club, and while visiting clubs can make requests, the home team is under no obligation to meet these requests. It goes on. We'll wrap it up. John T is here, and he will gladly, I'm sure, put his 2 cents into this. It said the EFL's preference is for all access to be granted to provide supporters with the best coverage of the clubs possible. In a statement on the club's website, Blackburn Rovers said this decision has not been taken lightly. It follows a series of ongoing issues that the club considers inconsistent with the standards of professionalism, integrity, and mutual respect expected in our relationship with media partners. Finally, it says the club has continued to encounter repeated issues with the newspaper's conduct and reporting. This culminated in recent social media posts in which matters became personal, a line the club will not tolerate under any circumstances. This suspension applies to all Blackburn Rovers fixtures, press conferences, and club premises. Okay, so that is, of course, the retaliation. John T is with us. Of course, we're going to try and do this a second here. How do I do this? John T, can you hear me, first and foremost? Are you ready for me? Let me add you here somehow. Let me not add you for a second. Hang on. Let me do this, and now we'll do that. And then we'll do this like that. And then we will do that. John T, are you there? Can you hear me? I don't know if he's hear me or not. If he can't, we will proceed. But yeah, so a little bit of back and forth there between the club and the newspaper. And it's ruffled a few feathers amongst the fan base, rightly so. Of course, some folks say it's warranted. Some folks are backing the club. Some are backing the newspaper. But let's, of course, go to the original post or the original comment that was made.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. John T, I can hear you. Hopefully everyone else can hear you too. So, of course, crazy old couple of weeks for Rovers since the international break has come and gone. We've had the Ipswich match. We've had this now farce that's just dropped within the last few hours. What's your take on the recent drama that is Blackburn Rovers?
This thing with the Lancashire Telegraph, it's just another shit thing that we don't need, isn't it, really? It's just... I'm not a big fan of the Lancashire Telegraph. I think just generally the journalism, if I dare call it that, has been really, really poor. I think the only saving grace for that newspaper is the sports section, but I think that's dropped down over the years. When you think about the some of the great writers that have been in the Rovers journalist Pete White springs to mind, and there was a really good lady as well over the years. But no, I mean Elliot Jackson is, for me, I think he's a bit of a shit stir, if I'm being honest. I think he's probably under a lot of pressure to sell a lot of the newspaper, because without the sport, the paper's probably going to fold, isn't it? No pun intended. But yeah, I think it's a little bit ironic that he's deleted the post. So no, I'm going to stick with my gut reaction, which is no, good on Rovers. We've dug our heels in. I think Lancashire Telegraph it seems that they've taken the piss out of us, of Rovers. So no, we draw the line in the sand. We've made a bit of a ballsy decision, and you know what? I'm quite glad of the club to grow some balls and do something about it. It's just not a good reflection again in this Blackburn Rovers part of it. So that's my gut feeling. Like I say, my gut feeling is that the newspaper's probably on its arse. It relies on the sports to sell subscriptions or to sell paper, and they probably had to create something, and it's probably just been one step too far, and Rovers have had enough. So that's my gut feeling.
Well, listen to what you say there, and maybe looking at it from a newspaper point of view. A lot of the I can access a lot of the Lancashire Telegraph online normally, but of course all the good stuff is behind the paywall. So getting content or something that maybe have been what's the word, emphasized or a little bit manipulated, or I don't know if he has or he hasn't. I've not read any of the stuff. I'm just saying, getting those sound bites or headlines to get people to click and pay to get the news might be like you said, if it drives up the paid subscriptions, then he's doing a good job. But of course, if it's false news and falsely reporting, then it's not a good picture for himself.
Yeah, 100%. It's it's the last thing the club needs if he's stirring up unnecessary shit, isn't it? So, but no, I mean, the reality is nobody will know the exact truth apart from Elliot Jackson and a couple of people at our club, sort of thing. But no, I at this moment in time, my gut feeling is I agree with Rovers' stance on it. Just we don't need it. I think like I said to you right at the top of it, I think the standard of reporting is really poor, and that's not just specifically related to the sport. It's just the whole newspaper. They're struggling with content. It used to be a thriving newspaper did that, but yeah, just poor. But as for the other farcical, well, it's just another kick between the legs for Blackburn Rovers, isn't it? How that is allowed to happen, I will never know. I mean, I must have done quite a bit of typing in Ipswich Town into my phone this week, because on Facebook, the first thing that came up was Ipswich Town, and then obviously just went to all the comments on there, and yeah, I mean, even reading some of the Ipswich Town comments, it was just like, yeah, we swerved a bullet there, and I don't think anybody felt sorry for us, but I mean, they're all like, thank God for that, and it's. There's 90 minutes in the game, 79 minutes have been played, so what's that? It's a hell of a lot of the match has gone. You can't do this, play half of the game or play the last 11 minutes because, you just can't set up for that. The players had 79 minutes of match in the leg, so, somebody somewhere needed to make a decision on it, and for me, it's the wrong decision. If you take off your any goggles that you might have or any persuasion of the club that you might prefer Ipswich or Blackburn, as a neutral fan, it's how if we were just 1-0 up and it was 11 versus 11, I'd kind of understand it a little bit more, but we were 10 men. Sorry, they were 10 men. We were 1-0 up. We looked comfortable. I don't think, you look at the statistics of it, we had slightly more possession, we had a few more shots on target, our expected goals was a lot greater than theirs. I think we were 1.36, they were 0.6. I hope the panel watched the whole game because I'm assuming they didn't, otherwise they would have just given it to Rovers, but no, it's a totally bad decision for my liking. I'd even go so far as saying if that was Burnley, if it was Preston, or any of our other, even Bolton as well, I'd feel sorry for them. I think it's a really poor decision. I believe that there's a panel of 3 championship clubs that lives on that sits on that panel. Ridsdale being one from Preston, and apparently they absconded from it. But it stinks of shit to me. To be fair, it's yeah.
But you were there, were you like a drowned rat? Were you getting rained on heavily, or were you under the awning, or how bad was the conditions?
Yeah, the conditions were bad. It was just persistent rain. Thankfully I was dry. It was just coming straight down. It was just like putting your shower on and just leaving it to run for hours on end. I mean, the morning didn't start off too badly, to be fair. But then it just, I can't even think what time it started, but maybe about 11:30, something like that. And it was just constant. And, I've got a big bucket in the back of my garden, and that was overflowing even before I left for the Rovers. So, I believe that it was something like about 4.5 weeks worth of rain fell in that afternoon. So, we've got a shitty little river behind Riverside. It's a narrow river. And it's not that deep, so any significant rainfall, and I will classify that as significant rainfall, it just fills right up to the levels where the drainage of the pitch goes into the river, and obviously you don't need to have any degrees in anything, geography or anything like that, but it's just the water levels just exceeded where the drainage would go into, so that backs up and it goes onto the pitch. Because I think in the first half, yes, the grass was sodden, but it wasn't, it certainly wasn't sticking or anything like that. So for me, I jokingly said on about the 72nd minute, I jokingly said to the people sat around me, I said, "You watch, this will get called off," and everyone laughed at me because the ball was still moving so well. So it's just
it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating.
It's frustrating, and it's the wrong decision in my opinion. I think if you could ask the majority of fans out there, regardless of which club they prefer, I think I think Rovers have been hard done by.
Yeah, and will we be able to get that kind of performance out of Rovers again, and the second time on a drier day, on a different day, in different situations? It's going to be hard to, because it was a great performance. I thought Rovers were looking good. Do you think Do you think we can hold our own tomorrow in the Joe Rankin Costello derby at Charlton?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlton have done well, to be fair. Coming into this league. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the club that came up through the playoffs. I thought they might have struggled. You look at your Birmingham and Wrexham. I think everybody said right at the start of the season that it's going to be a really tough championship because the three that come up normally, might struggle. But Charlton, to be fair, have held their own. I think they're on 8 points now. And you look at some of the teams that they've played as well. They've played some half decent teams. Bristol City, for one. I mean, they played last week against Sheffield United, and that's on the return of their old manager for Sheffield United. So there's the writing was on the wall. Really, that's normally Rovers' luck, isn't it? That you go and get Sheffield United the minute that your man goes back to there. But no, they nicked a cheeky 1-0 one. I felt a bit sorry for them against QPR. They got beat 3-1 a few weeks back against QPR, but that was on QPR's backlash of a 7-1 romping by Coventry sort of thing. So I think that's the heaviest defeat to date. So I don't think tomorrow's going to be easy at all. I probably sound like a broken record. I always say I'd probably settle for a point now, but I'm going. So far this season, I've got a 100% record. I'm here in my Milton Keynes hotel, so I'm ready for it. I'm catching the train from Milton Keynes down into London tomorrow. Hopefully, they're nice and early. Do a bit of a vlog for you. And
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember I have been to Charlton at least once before, and I've got a funny feeling that was probably about 9 seasons ago. I can't even tell you how we did. Did we once play them on the last day of the season or towards the end of the season?
I remember I went as well. Went one time when we lived in the US, and we went, and it was a 3-1 win. And Chris, what's his name? I think we were championship, Jordan Rhodes days, but
Chris Samba?
No, white guy winger, a bit of a ginger nut. Pretty shit. But he scored a couple goals. Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor from Denver in the stands. I hear him. Chris Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
He scored a couple.
How could I not get that?
I don't know.
Brother.
He scored a couple goals. And we won 3-1, and I think we were sitting in the home end as well, so it was a bit dodgy. But, good times. But hopefully 100. Sorry.
Next year, we're telling me you're wearing half and half scarf.
No, but got to go incognito. So but hopefully your streak continues tomorrow, and you bring the point.
If you bear it in mind, not last season, the season before, I went to about 9 away games. I only ever saw us win once, and the fact that I've matched that already, and we're still in September is amazing. So last season I went to, again, probably just double figure 10 games, and I saw us win twice. So if we win tomorrow, we're still in September, and I've matched how many away games we won last season. So fingers crossed. I'm not going to go in all optimistic, because every time I go in optimistic, we always get beat. So I'm going to go in pessimistic. I'm going to say we'll get beat 2-0, and fingers crossed that reversing psychology works.
Yeah, we'll go for it. Well, I appreciate you just stopping by, John T. Denver's here to take over the reins, and we'll hopefully get his words of wisdom from what went on this past week for Rovers. So appreciate that, John T. John T is out, and now hopefully you are on Denver, I believe. You're not, your face ain't going to be on, so you can hide your camera. But I think you're on air. So busy mad week for Rovers. We had the Ipswich debacle, and of course now this Lancashire Telegraph being banned. What is your take on that breaking news?
Which one first? You want the Ipswich or the?
Let's do the hot topic. The hot topic of the Lancashire Telegraph being the local newspaper that's been banned from Ewood and covering Rovers exclusively or whatever. Yeah.
If I am to be honest, I don't know loads about it. All I know mostly is literally I've just driven home from work and I was listening to you literally on YouTube, you and John C. So that's as much as I know. But I've briefly on my break, I've seen a little bit of of course, at the initial, I heard about it through social media posts and whatnot. But I've not done much digging, like I said, I've literally just got home. So, yeah, it's not great. I heard Jonty's opinion on it, and I'd say I'm in a similar position, considering I've not done loads of research and I can't really, again, I'm going to sit on the fence since I don't know loads of information about it. But yeah, I get. Look, it's your Lancashire Telegraph. You're gonna, regardless of where, like newspapers and articles and everything, you're gonna try and find as much information as you can. Regardless of which side of the information you want to. You don't want to be giving false information out or whatever. So, look. If it's damning information that they found or whatever. And again, I've not done loads of research on it. Again, I don't want to quote unquote, say anything wrong here, but um, I get it if they found something and they want to share it, and any news is news for these telegraphs trying to keep them going, and these newspapers. But and I think Rovers are entitled to go. You know that we don't like that. We don't really want you coming anymore. And if fans have seen, oh, this is a dictatorship, blah blah blah. Anyone doesn't want bad news being spread about them, do they? If it's true or not, regardless. If I'm Blackburn Rovers, I'm here to try and well, the owners or whoever the hierarchy. I'm trying to make a positive attitude for players and fans to come. You want to put on as good of an image, regardless. If you're going to put bad publicity out with whoever the hierarchy, fans get on the wrong side. It just sets a bad precedence moving forward. So if you're Blackburn Rovers, I know people are saying, oh, you should let all the truth out or whatever. Any football club, I'm sure, will be in the same situation, regardless of where they are, how the management system. Of course, it's the newspaper's jobs to find this, and it's Blackburn Rovers' choice to decide whether they want you to keep posting bad stuff. But we'll let you in, and we'll let you keep telling everyone about it. I can see both ends of the argument, and I think what Blackburn have done is it's fair enough. Like it's a bad article, and they've gone. You know what? We don't want you posting anything like that anymore. This is a privilege of you. We let you into the pre-season stuff and stuff like that because you're a trusted member. Like your Telegraph, its reputation is upheld. But since you posted that, we don't really want you here, and I think that's fair enough. And I can't argue that the Lancashire Telegraph shouldn't do what they're doing because that's ultimately the job. So yeah, I just think it's a set of circumstances from both sides, and it's just the case. I don't think anyone's at fault. I'd say either. So
How do
yeah,
how
that's
how
what I
do
think.
how does it what happens in the future now? What's going to go on? Is that relationship you're going to be destroyed, or do you think is there a way that they it can go back to what it was?
I'd say, if things improve behind the scenes and if things improve on the pitch, it's a very easy fix, right? It's
Mhm.
like with anything. If Blackburn go on they win all the remaining games comfortably 7-0. I'm sure Lancashire Telegraph aren't going to be posting anything bad, and it'll be sweet as Larry, and they'll be inviting them back, and everything behind the scenes is young Yankee Dory. Life's great, But then if you look at any club, you look at Manchester United now, it's all bad press, and it's and Man United aren't wanting that all the time, and you've got people not going to meetings and blah blah blah, and regardless of, it's not just a Blackburn Rovers issue. This specifically, of course, is, but press and clubs falling out. It's football wide, right? But of course, it's not great that it looks like this. But at the same time, the Lancashire Telegraph are doing their jobs. They're going to find any not just the Telegraph, any people, anyone wants news, good or bad, and they just want eyes on whatever they're writing, and that's what they decided to do. And Rovers haven't liked it because it's shined a bad light on the club, which is fair enough. So
Yeah, but it was, of course, just the latest bit of crap for Rovers. Of
yeah,
course, following on from the Ipswich debacle.
yeah,
Were you at that? Were you at that
I
monsoon?
was there for that game.
Were you
Yeah.
wet? You wet like a drowned rat, or what?
On the way to especially on the way home, because going up Liverty Branch Road, that was just a river. It was horrendous. I don't think I've seen Blackburn as wet in a long time. I've not seen the UK that wet in a long time. But yes, I was there. I was dry in the stand, thankfully. I was quite deep in the Blackburn end, but yeah, it was a really interesting. It was a weird scenario. Like you're walking off walking back home from that game, you knowing the game's been postponed, you're disappointed, but the result, that as in the performance, was great. We'll go in like it was a bit of a weird mix of emotions walking back from that game. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, and of course now it'll have to be replayed, and the circumstances probably will not be like they were. So probably it's going to be because it was such a like the performances was great, even though it was a wet or disaster. But I don't know if lightning's going to strike twice, and I don't know if we'll end up getting those 3 points.
I am fair to say when I read that statement, I was fuming. I remember just being like, "How have they come? How is this a decision? How like?" And what's annoying as well for me, I mean, I was reading a lot of the comments, and you've got, of course, you got your dingles coming in and saying what they want to say, and your Ipswich fans, which I get. Look, if you're an Ipswich fan, I get why you'd want to refresh because it's a chance. It's a chance for them to go again full strength. You'd think of them as favourites. And that's what makes it more disappointing that they had a man sent off, that we had all these things, and now that's just not going to count for nothing. All the hard work that was happened, and you're not guaranteed to have that again.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is frustrating how they come to like that was the decision. Look, of course, I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that was banding around, like playing the last 10 minutes. Like, I don't think you could do that, and I think the only way I could think of it working would be replay the game, but with Ipswich down to 10 men, and maybe as a goal to start off with ahead. I think that's the only way they could have done it fair, or give the result to us. But I also see the convoluted side of it being, it's not a complete game. I think that was the official statement, wasn't it, when they decided to have the full replay. But literally when that game was going on, the Ipswich fans knew they got away with one, because when that referee was rolling that ball on the pitch, they were singing, they were dancing, they were shirts were off. It was like they won the game, and then all our fans were leaving, and it was a pretty weird atmosphere when you've got fans cheering for a game to be postponed. I think that they should have looked at that alone, and that should have been a sign saying, "Look, you can't let that happen," because look, clearly they knew that they were on the we were on the ascendancy. They were on the ascendancy. Sorry, but yeah.
Well, and the problem is that if whenever this game does get played ahead, now Ipswich are of course a bit of a powerhouse right now. They could get a bit more stronger in form, and I think we were playing them at a good. I know they just won 5-0 against Sheffield United, but they still hadn't really clicked into good away form, and I'm just worried now that it'll be played like in November, and they'll be on a good run, and
Yeah, exactly. And on positive notes on the game, of course, Sammy Schmodek's coming back, and he got a really, really good reception. That was really nice, and it was good to see him. Like both sets of fans clapping him on when he come on. But I was worried as soon as he come on. I was like, watch him now. He's gonna score past us now, isn't he? And thankfully, in a weird way, he didn't get the chance to. But at the same time, that game did need to be stopped. Like I remember, I questioned, because there was a few moments where the ball was just catching up, it was just slowing down a little bit. That Kipri challenge, which again, I don't know how that wasn't a red card alone. Even Ipswich fans reacted. I'm like, it was such a bad challenge. They should have had 2 men sent off. And I wonder if if he was sent off, that might have changed the verdict. And if they were down to 9 men, I wonder what could have happened there. But yeah, when that ball stopped dead, when they made that pass, the game could carry on. So I'm not against the fact that the referees made the wrong decision. I think the game had to be stopped. I don't know how you could have played on in that.
Do you think if it was 2-0, you think we would have been at the same conclusion? Like if we were 2-0, 10 minutes to go.
You'd think so, but again, with the EFL and the decision that they made after this, I wouldn't put it past them that they would have said, "Oh, make a replay." Even with 9 men, I don't know, because the stats suggest that we were well in front. We were dominant. They were down to 10 men. We kept the ball. They hadn't had a chance in forever. But yet they still, and that's why the Ipswich fans were celebrating the way they were when that ball wasn't moving, because that was for them. That was the best chance of them getting anything from the game, and it clearly has. So, but yeah. And then reading the messages, people saying, "Oh, playing on an unfit pitch," they got the man sent off because of the pitch, and the pitch was playable for 76, 77 minutes of that game. The pitch had done really well, considering, because the rain literally got heavier and heavier and heavier as the game went on, and I was surprised that the pitch was in good condition up until that point. To be fair, I think at half time it was miserable. So Yeah. So those comments alone, I was like, just piss me off. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it is a shame. I just hope that we can pull it out the bag again. You just have to hope and look. If we do go win 1-0 in the 1-0 and they get a man sent off, it'll be forgotten about. But
Yep.
I'm sure until then, it's going to be a bit of a hot topic, and that game's going to have a few eyes on it.
Yes, it will. It'll be a good. Yeah, I think we could be in for something when we play. But of course, this coming next 8 days, we've got 3 matches which could put us in either a good position or a crappy position. And fingers crossed, we still might have a chance to have a podcast this Sunday. But 3 games: Charlton away. I think we have Stoke at home. I don't know if that's next. Swansea, and then Stoke at home. Both of those. Between now and then next Saturday. How many points are we getting?
Oh dear. Like, I'd say I'm reasonably optimistic, even though I do sit on the fence, but that screams. Oh, saying that though, they both have just lost, haven't they? I mean, Swansea lost to, who did they lose to? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
They lost on the weekend, and then of course Stoke lost to Birmingham, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that they have lost to 2 sides, and we look quite good against Birmingham, but they're 2 teams that are, other than those 2 results, have looked really good. I mean, Swansea did knock out Forest, was it, out the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, Wednesday night, one of the nights. So that's also to take into consideration for the game on Saturday. They had a game prior to that. I'm worried, but at the same time, we've been playing well. We have been playing really well, and against Ipswich, I know they're not firing properly, but we looked very good. I mean, Ipswich had their chances. Don't get me wrong, especially the first half. Toth saved us a few times. So it was even. If anything, Ipswich were the better side of the first half, and that red card did change everything. And that's again the reason why it's really disappointing that they decided to give it away, because next time we play them. But I don't know. It's a hard one to see. I don't know how our injury list is looking regarding Sidney Tavares and Hayden Carter. I know both of them are. Of course, he was injured in the warm up, and then Hayden Carter in training. I'm assuming, or was it was it the game before? I don't know, but I don't know. That they'll be too interesting. I know Gardner did really well when he come on, considering the circumstances. A bit of a shame that technically that's not his debut now. So from game,
weird thing.
Yeah,
I don't even
it's
know.
a weird situation that, but yeah, I am. I was about to say quietly confident. That'd be just a lie if I said that. I am optimistic, but my heart's saying we can win those games. My head's saying, geez, that's going to be a tough week.
It's a tough
Yeah.
week. It's an important week. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you get off without saying the points number, but we'll save it for maybe a podcast. But hey, Denver, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you stopping by on a Friday night. You're not heading down London, are you, for tomorrow? You're gonna.
I was really close and really debating it, but I was looking at how much money I'd have to spend getting down there, and I was like, do you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait for another, maybe like a Millwall. I might go and commit, like, or when you come down. When you come down, I see you get a few away games when you're down in and around it during Christmas.
Well, actually,
time.
when I'm down, if I'm down, I think a lot of them are either up north, like Borough and Hillsborough, I think. So.
Well, I'll be there for them ones then. It's just like I'm trying to balance it with my.
Yeah. Hey,
maybe playing. I might have been playing yesterday, but I don't think I am now. So, I'll be watching that on the TV, unfortunately. But
well, hey, it might be a blessing in disguise. Who knows? But hopefully, Johnny can bring home the points. But I appreciate it, Denver. You're a superstar. I'm going to let you go,
worries.
and I'm going to. Yeah, no worries. So. That was Denver. I'm going to probably have to bounce out of here, guys. I appreciate everyone coming in there. Thanks for stopping by, Naive Steve, British Bongalators in the house as well. A couple of other ones, Oliver Butworth as well. So appreciate your comments. But yeah, it's another crazy old week for Rovers with the old Lancashire Telegraph nonsense, the Ipswich Town debacle, and of course now Charlton Athletic, Joe Rankin Costello derby tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll have the watch along, and I am going to be doing I haven't managed to get my pre-game out or preview, so that will be earlier tomorrow. We will be live. We might even have a couple of people stopping by to chat about the game, but we'll have all the stats, all the figures, all the numbers, all the starting 11, all that kind of jazz. It'll be tomorrow, pre-game, preview, live, then the watch along, and hopefully, it's been a bit of a busy week for me. I've got a lot of shit going on right now, and my mind's all over the place. But anyway, you guys are amazing. We'll be back very soon. Subscribe, smash the like. We are taking a dive. We're not going to take a dive. We'll be back there tomorrow. Live. Ciao. Stephen McGinty. See you later.